Police have launched a review after a protest captured in a dramatic viral picture told the son how cops fired weapons around him and his 2-year-old son, and one officer allegedly threatened to spray tear gas at the little boy. Do you see this images? A 2-year-old has a gun pointed at him by California Long Beach police. A 2-year-old. I mean, this is absolutely reprehensible. This is absolutely reprehensible. What is this police officer thinking? Do you know how traumatizing that would be for a 2-year-old to have a gun pointed in their head? In an exclusive interview on Wednesday, Dante, the boy's father, told how one officer threatened to spray tear gas while others fired bullets right in front of them. And in video footage shared with the son, cops could be seen loading weapons and firing bullets all around them, while in another, fellow protesters could be heard begging cops not to gas the child, shouting, "What's the matter with you? You are a monster. You're really going to gas this child? What about your child?" Now Long Beach Police Department have responded to the claims, labeling them disturbing and pledging to launch a review. In a statement, a spokesperson said, the Long Beach Police Department is aware of this image posted to social media of a crowd control police officer and a man with a child on his shoulder during Sunday's civil unrest. We agree the image is disturbing, and we all share the community's concerns for the safety of the child, the peaceful demonstrators, and the officers. While the review of the incident is underway, we do know that this image was taken at the time that violent disruptors were throwing bottles and pyrotechnics that could cause great bodily injury to anyone in the area. We are reviewing all the related footage, blah, 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 blah. So, Jen, I'm beginning to see a pattern. Not just with police departments, but with governors, state lawmakers. I keep hearing, oh, we're investigating. Oh, we're doing a review. So-and-so police department is, launched an inquiry into it. All of this is amount to nothing. They're not investigating because they're investigating themselves. That's why more and more people are starting to say, well, we need independent agencies to investigate the police, not the local district attorney who works with the police on a daily basis, trying criminals. But what is there to investigate? Like, yeah, you could look at the video, but the picture is right there. That officer was firing, had a gun pointed at a 2-year-old. Now, some people debated, well, that guy shouldn't bring his 2-year-old to a protest. I don't agree with that. Why shouldn't he bring his 2-year-old to a protest? That very assumption is why America is so messed up. Because people say, well, protests could be dangerous, so don't bring your toddler. Protests aren't supposed to be dangerous. And 95% of these protesters are peaceful all around the country. But I don't think this police department is going to investigate. I think this police department, like Chicago Police Department, like New York Police Department, says words. We've opened in a review, an inquiry, a this, a that, and eventually they'll say, oh, we found that, the officer was pointing elsewhere, or that, people were throwing things at the officer. Just throwing out things that nobody could disprove to excuse this behavior. What do you think?
I completely agree. The protest was billed as peaceful. He's bringing his son there because he is under systemic oppression. He wants his son to live in a more just world. Of course he can bring his son to this protest. Of course his son can hold a Black Lives Matter sign or whatever they want to do. That is their right. I really think it was interesting yesterday, Jordan, one of the young men that you interviewed brought up the Stanford prison experiment. So you talk about why are cops aiming this? I don't know what it was exactly, a rubber bullet gun or something, some kind of weapon. Why are they aiming this at a 2-year-old? Why are they aiming this at peaceful protesters at all? And the Stanford prison experiment showed that people who are given roles of power, roles of authority, can easily take on an authoritarian, power-hungry, disgusting, abusive mindset. And that's what these cops are in. And we have these, the people of the streets, the regular people of this country who are dealing with this violence and dealing with this disgusting behavior by police all over the place. And if cameras weren't there to catch this stuff, I mean, and typically they aren't. So this happens all the time. And I think you're right. This internal review or whatever it is won't show anything. They'll say, oh, that photo's just a camera angle, which right-wingers are already trying to disprove the photo. Honestly, I don't care about camera angles. What I care about is the fact that at this peaceful protest to this young, black, 2-year-old child, a cop did that, pointed in his direction. It's just abhorrent.
And I want to play, maybe you guys have seen some of these clips elsewhere, but if you haven't, here's some more best hits of what the police have been doing the last few days. That one was in Pennsylvania, where literally a woman was kneeling on the ground. She was on the ground, and a cop just kicked her in the face. That's another one where that local Pennsylvania police department said, oh, yeah, we're investigating the matter. What in God's name would you have to investigate? For example, Jen, my parents own a jewelry store, right? If one of their salespeople punched a customer in the face that was like, I don't know, just sitting on the little seat that you sit on when you're like looking at an engagement ring, just like punched them in the face, they'd be fired like immediately. So why is it any different for police? Actually, the police should be terminated more quickly than in private business because we pay their bill. I don't know if you were able to see that, but the way that this cop kicked this protester in the face, her neck could have snapped back. I mean, the force of that guy, they're wearing boots. It's not like you're hitting someone with little slippers. The full force of this guy, her neck could have snapped back. God knows what could have happened to that person. They're investigating it. Where in any other situation that wasn't U.S. police, that person would be fired.
Cops are supposed to serve and protect the people of this country. That is their role. What was that cop thinking? Except for, I am powerful and I'm going to cause as much pain to this person in front of me as possible. This dirty protester, whatever they were thinking. It's or maybe they weren't thinking at all. They're just violent. They've turned into these. I mean, it's what would normally be a movie, but is our reality. These just evil authoritarian figures who are violent and just despicable. I did see the video, kicking that girl in the face who was already down, who was just sitting there. There's no excuse for it. And as for an internal review, there's video. There's nothing to review. It's, as you say, in any other job, that person would be out immediately. So what is taking so long? What is this review?
So now we're going to look at, I know a lot of people have seen this, but I'm bringing this up because we have a few words for New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. So for those that haven't seen it, this is, I think it was like 5-6 days ago. This is, protesters were surrounding a police vehicle. They weren't like jumping on the vehicle, but surrounding a police vehicle. Let's look at what happens. Not only in any other line of work, in any other line of anything, if there were a bunch of people surrounding a car, sure, we could debate whether protesters should be getting up so close to a car like that. Maybe they felt, threatened or whatever. But there's different ways you could handle that, right? You could call for backup. You You could get on your police megaphone and say, please back up from the car. We'd like to give you your right to protest, but, back up from the car. You cannot surround our car. If it continues, you'll be arrested immediately. So a cop car runs over, it looked like a couple dozen people. In any other scenario, not only would they be fired, they'd be charged with attempted something. I mean, you could kill somebody, that people could be dragged under that car. It's just unbelievable. Meanwhile, Mayor Bill de Blasio, a Democrat, at a press conference, kind of like, did a little Trump Charlottesville about this, said, oh, well, good people on both sides. I mean, he didn't say that, but he basically said, yes, we are going to, again, investigate this incident, but the cops shouldn't be surrounding the car. It's still, I think 5 or 6 days later, those officers haven't been fired that ran over protesters. Think about, by the way, this isn't only a race thing. I don't want to say that as a white person because obviously there's a huge racial dynamic. It's not only a race thing with this police terrorism. It is a power, an outsized power complex. Police have been fetishized in this country. The deference that has been given not only to corporate America, but to police, who they're not all bad, but the psychology that the United States government has put out there about police is we should bow down to police officers, and they are holier than thou, and that they could do no wrong, and blah blah blah. When the reality is we pay for them, and they don't get to terrorize people because they have a badge or because their job is a little is risky. You know what I mean? Journalists' jobs are risky, maybe not as risky as police, but we don't get to go run people over. We don't get to shoot guns at point a gun at a toddler. I mean, it's crazy. And the fact that, if this were the only incident right now, remember, if there wasn't George Floyd, if there wasn't Breonna Taylor, if there wasn't Ahmaud Arbery, if there wasn't protests all over the country, and it was just this on a random New York City night where police rammed their car over a bunch of people, it would be national news for days, or it should be national news for days. But it's being lost in the rest of it. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.